Hi everybody and welcome to the short summary of my 2 week trip to southern Norway. What an amazing adventure! Well, it actually started super rough. After only 10 minutes of driving I had a screw and a bolt in my tire and I had to get the car towed. But luckily made it just in time to Denmark to catch my ferry to Norway. I spent that very first night in the car and I woke up to the most amazing sunrise views over the fjord. Later I decided to hike Preikestolen. I know, right, super touristy hike, but I think if you're in Norway you just gotta do that. And actually the views on top are amazing. Just look at how the sunlight is reflected in calm waters of the fjord. You can see for miles and miles. That day it actually didn't feel too crowded, probably because it started super early, so if you consider doing that hike, start in the morning. Later I went on to Stuttgart. Stuttgart is a beautiful waterfall close to Eidfjord. Eidfjord again is a very touristy spot, but this year, probably due to COVID-19, there were no cruise ships, hardly any ferry boat, so the place felt super laid back. I just sat in the harbor and enjoyed that amazing sunset light. Wow! After my short visit to Eidfjord, I went to Furringfossen, another popular place, but again I was the only person there. So I actually decided to hike to the very base of the waterfall, which turned out to be a little bit tricky because there's been some landslides, so you have to climb over rocks to get there. I was the only person on the hike. It felt very remote, very wild, and once you arrive at a waterfall, you just feel that power coming from it. And you get soaked within seconds. So bring your rain gear, bring some warm clothes, because it can get pretty cold there. The next stop was Harungavida National Park. So actually the first time on that trip I encountered snow. Luckily I brought all my warm clothes, all my winter gear, so I felt super comfortable up there. One fact about that national park is that the snow never melts, so the photos you see here, they were taken in late July. There's still lots of snow, lots of ice on the lakes, and if you drive through the park, you just pass all those huge walls of snow on both sides of the road. It's truly amazing. Next I headed on to Jotunheimen National Park. I did some wild hiking there. Well, had to cross some rivers on bridges made out of ladders, and then there were no trails, so just did some random walks and actually came across a beautiful glacier with blue ice and a very calm mountain lake, so spent all afternoon there just admiring the view on top. What an incredible national park! If you're into mountains like I am, you really want to check out Jostedalsbreen as well. It's actually the largest glacier in continental Europe. The park offers lots of beautiful hikes and there's snow all year round, so it can get pretty cold up there. Bring your warm winter clothes. After Jostedalsbreen, I went to Garanga Fjord. I know, another tourist spot, but UNESCO World Heritage, so if you're in Norway, you want to check that out as well. And I actually did a ferry ride there. So I was lucky with the weather because it was super foggy, a little bit cloudy, so the mood was just perfect. It felt very laid back, very relaxing. I loved it. If you want to get away from tourists in Garanga, you should really consider doing some backcountry hiking. There are lots of great trails around the area, up to some quiet mountain lakes, and I can promise you, you're the only person there, so check that out. I moved on to the Vestgen Road, very famous road, and again, as so often on that trip, I was the only person there. So usually you see all those photos of the RVs and campers going up that road, but the day I went there, no other people, and that was probably due to the weather. It was raining super hard the past days, so there was so much water coming down from the mountains. It almost felt like the waterfalls would just swallow the road and my car. Really intense drive, honestly, on that day, but still really amazing, and I just loved it. It was so cool to see all the waterfalls just out of my car's window. A lot less adventurous is the Atlantic Ocean Drive. We know all those photos on Instagram of several bridges connecting islands, so it basically feels like island hopping by car. It's a very relaxing drive and I was super lucky with my Airbnb because it was right next to the beach and I had amazing views of the sunset that day. But of course, I had to get back to the mountains, so I went on to Rondane National Park. One special thing about that national park is that you actually have to bike in to get to the base where all the hikes start. I don't know why I'm always so lucky with the weather, but during the time I biked in, it got really stormy again, it was super cold, and once I arrived, I just looked rough. I mean, check out my hair. But of course that doesn't keep me from doing further hikes. And in the evening when I got back, I was just a mess. I was shaking, it was so cold. But the next day the weather actually really improved, so I could do some proper hikes, up some ridges, and the mood was just perfect with the fog and the clouds. I followed a river into a canyon and came across a beautiful waterfall, just enjoyed the view there. And one special fact about the national park is that it's covered in golden moss. It looks like somebody poured pure gold over the entire national park. My last stop on the journey was Moss. Pretty laid back town, close to the border of Sweden. Nice place to just spend a couple of days and relax your sore legs. To sum this trip up, I did around 200 kilometers of hiking and 7,500 kilometers of driving in just 2 weeks. It was amazing, I would just do it again. And now, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my other videos on the channel about the different hikes I did in Norway. And subscribe if you want to hear about the latest travels I do and my travel stories. Thank you so much again for watching and looking forward to talking to you soon.